Welcome mates, I'm Bloodthirsty Lord, but you can call me Lordy, and today we're back on patch 0.27 in Paragon. More news based on that due to the fact that there was so many things in the actual patch, in these patch notes, and pretty much in the actual game right now, since you're able to play the patch right now. Also, there is other videos on my channel talking about the patch and pretty much all these little factors that give you a better understanding of what is going right now in the current meta and pretty much in the current game of Paragon. But today we're going to talk about the so-called caster buff, because I think there's maybe a hidden nerf behind it with some of the factors of some of the casters within this, but we're going to explain everything to do with the casters within patch 0.27. So casters now have a 0.7 card scaling, low base damage, and low base damage per level gained. So pretty much what that means are casters will be stronger during the mid-game stages of the game and towards the late game due to the fact that they will have cards or some sort of build that will actually scale during that stages, and you'll be able to pretty much do some damage and do some CC and pretty much help out your team in those stages a lot more than the early game. But the early game is still good on casters, but not too great since of the low base damage that casters have in the early game stages of the game. So what we're going to do now is pretty much go through every caster or whatever is close to the caster. Even some of the supports, I consider them to be casters. If you build them correctly, they can do quite a lot of damage and also provide a lot of CC to your team. And we're going to talk about the buffs and nerfs that happen to certain characters, so let's get straight into it. So the first hero we're going to talk about is Dekker, which is a support, but I can play her as a caster, and she's quite strong as a caster. I'm going to explain everything that happened to her during this patch. So her passive Mana Shield has been removed, Stasis Bomb no longer gains extended stun duration based on range to a target, adjusted stun duration based on ability level 1.1, 1.4, 1.8, and 2.2. Containment Fence redesign now prevents enemies from walking out of it by applying a small knockback and a low amount of damage when they attempt to leave. Enemies which touch the fence from the outside will be sucked inside, no longer blocks allies from walking through the fence, though it still stops enemy projectiles. Cooldown increased from 100 seconds to 120 seconds at all levels. Placement range reduced from 1750 to 1200. Containment Fence now supports team colors. Polish and bug fixing are already added to Dekker emote, friendly wave, recall, level start, and select screen animation. I consider this to be a buff with a slight nerf to it, but nothing too crazy compared to the rest of them. Her Stasis Bomb has now got an amazing stun duration depending if you put a point into it. If you put points into it and it reaches the max amount, it'll be a 2.2 second stun. That is dirty, and the Containment Fence is just bloody OP from all the information you just heard there, but it's got increased cooldown, and it's also reduced the placement of your actual casting range for that ability or that ultimate. So let's move on to the next hero, and her name is Gadget, and she's a wonderful hero. I loved her from day one. She's able to provide so much, and she's pretty much like an underdog hero within the game. And we're going to talk about the changes that did happen to her. Her passive Haywire, the ability has been removed. Seek and Destroy slightly increased projectile speed, and the polish and bug fixing added sounds to Gadget's emotes, chill out, level start, and recall. Gadget now lists her possible roles and range type properly. So they did change something. It wasn't that too dramatic, but it is considered to be a little buff for the hero, and that is pretty much the projectile speed of the ability Seek and Destroy. And let's move on to the next hero, and his name is Gideon. His passive Dark Infusion ability has been removed. Cosmic Rift placement range increased from 1500 to 2000. Black Hole added an extra pull towards the center when the ability begins. Pull strength has been increased and normalized at all distances from the center of the ability. Remove ability confirmation now cast instantly. Black Hole no longer pulls jungle creeps. Polish and bug fixings are added sound to Gideon's emote animation Levitate. So the little buffs that did happen on Gideon are that his Cosmic Rift ability's placement range has been increased by 500 units, and they've also buffed Black Hole by a bit. Nothing too dramatic, but at least it's got some sort of upgrade on his ultimate, making it easier to cast, and it doesn't affect jungle creeps, and the pull strength has been increased once you begin it. Pretty much his CC is even stronger on his ultimate. The next hero we're going to talk about is Howitzer, and he got a buff as well since he is a caster, and they did show him in the video that pretty much his units have been increased, and we're going to explain what actually are those buffs for this character. So his passive Fast Reload, this ability has been removed. Landmine range increased from 1000 to 1205 units. Then his R2000 missile range increased from 2000 to 2200 units. Make It Rain range increased from 1500 to 1750 units. Cooldown increased from 100 to 115. Damage duration is 4.2 seconds at all levels. Polish and bug fixings are jetpack sounds updated. Audio added to emotes YR order. So those are all the changes that happened to Howitzer. Majority of them are buffs since his range increase on all of them are crazy good, but his cooldown increased from his ultimate to 100 to 115 seconds, so that's another 15 seconds you have to wait until you use the ultimate. But in all, this kit has been pretty much a little bit more upgraded due to the fact that the range increase on all his abilities is pretty dirty. And let's move on to the next hero, and that is Iggy and Scorch, the little flame duo that I enjoy to play all the time, but they can explain all the changes that happen to him, all the buffs and nerfs, everything that's got to do with him. So his passive Ignite, this functionality has been moved into the base heroes kit, see below. Flame turrets, cooldown increase from 1 second to 3 seconds, decrease the deactivation time from 5 seconds to 3 seconds, oil spill placement range increase from 1,500 to 1,750 units, Ignite functionality is now core to oil spill, Flame Belch removed ability confirmation, now cast instantly, polish bug fixing are adjusted on-screen effects during Flame Belch and Flame Turrets, Mana Regen has been removed as a recommended stat, turret stat counter now updates properly, turrets no longer stay cloaked while firing from a shadow pad. So overall, Iggy and Scorch did get a buff, his abilities, everything about him is actually pretty much stronger, but his oil spill and the flame turret are the ones that got affected the most during buff wise. No nerfs have been applied, nothing too crazy, at least that I can see from, except from the cooldown of your flame turret being increased from 1 second to 3 seconds, and that won't really affect you that much as an Iggy and Scorch main. And the last hero we're going to talk about, which is a support but can also be played as a caster, but she'll be bloody squishy, is Muriel. Her passive restoration, this ability has been removed, allowing her to shield value adjusted from 180 to 410 to 640, which were the skeletons before, to now 60, 110, 160, and 210. So the shield value is small compared to what it used to be before. Now we're going to move to the next ability, Consecrating Ground, shield value adjusted from 120, 210, 300, 390, 480, 200, 175, 250, and 325. So her shield values over there got obviously decreased as well, but then they also increased the cast range from 1,000 to 1,750 units. So that is a bonus 750 units on the cast range, so that's pretty good. The Reversal of Fortune shield value reduced from 700, 900, 1,100 to 350, 600, and 850. Now only applies soft cooldown if the ability is cancelled by a hostile action. Choosing to cancel the ability still triggers no cooldown. And those are all the changes that did happen to all the casters, or pretty much what I consider to be casters, in patch 0.27 within Paragon. Majority of them did get a buff, some of them got little tiny nerfs here and there just to equalize their buff, since majority of them did get a range increase on their abilities, and some of them got some decreased cooldowns, while others got increased cooldowns, and all these little other factors that we did talk about within this video. But now you'll be able to see casters in your game, or if you're playing with the caster yourself, you're able to cast your abilities from a certain range, which is a good distance or a safe range to cast your abilities, so majority of the enemy players won't be able to get closed gaps towards you, since their units for closing a gap are smaller to what you've got in your cast range for your abilities in this patch as a caster. So pretty much if you well position yourself in team fights, and pretty much with this casting range bonus and the damages and pretty much some of the cooldowns, which are a good cooldown benefit towards a certain character, and some of them didn't get good ones, but majority of the time if you play the character well, you'll end up winning a team fight quite easily. So mates, if you enjoy this video, show your support, smash that below like button. Let's try to get 30 likes on this video, and if you guys want to see more Paragon gaming content on my channel, all you have to do is share this with your friends and hit the subscribe button, become a mate today. That is all for this video. Oh, time to go, but don't you worry, we're back very soon. Ain't you ads, boys, because you ain't seen nothing yet. Even with all the changes, I'm still not gonna play Howitzer.
And that it feels right.